Hello everybody, happy Sunday. Thank you for being here as always. So this is our last meditation of January. Next week when we meet here, it'll be February 1st, I believe, right? Yeah. So yeah, here we are. Just a few transits this week. Couple really big things. If you watch the weekly video or have just kept up on the transits, you already know what we're looking at here. Neptune moves back into the sign of Aries and it stays there for good now. We've been working with Neptune and Pisces since 2011 for the first time, about back and forth. But for the better half of over a decade, we've had Neptune in the sign of Pisces. Now it's moving into the sign of Aries. We had a little glimpse of this in 2025, so like roughly March to October timeframe. If you look back to that time and just see what kind of seeds were started, what things were kind of showing their way. Bonus points if you know what house that correlates with, because then you can look at the house topics and kind of zoom in a little bit. I have a few things that I've been reflecting back on that I thought maybe I would just kind of share just as examples. I feel like it helps when you see real life examples in the astrological courses that I've taken. We have learned a ton by taking the theory and then applying it like to charts of people that their lives are well known, well documented, things like that. So people that are like popular, famous, or have made their mark in different type of ways. So let's go ahead and get the intention up here. Initiation. Initiation ignites and stimulates. Initiation ignites and stimulates. So let's sit with that for just a moment. Just briefly, just seeing what comes up, whether or not this is the first time you've heard the intention. Any thoughts, any feelings, any emotions, anything that it makes you think of, anything you want to move towards or move away from. Just first reactions when you hear those words. And even noticing that there isn't much of a reaction is a reaction as well. All right, I'm looking in the comments. Hi, Melissa. Yeah, Burr. It's been a cold January here in Michigan for sure, especially the last couple weeks. And yeah, this month always feels so long and so cold. We're in the middle of winter in the Northern Hemisphere, and you see that zodiacally too within the season that we're in. We're in Aquarius season, right? It's in some of the darkest days of the year. However, we are starting to hit that point where even though it's cold, even though it's dark, even though it seems like things are in deep hibernation or they're dead or they're asleep. I like to think more of sleep than like plants being dead. We are starting very slowly to have daylight hours coming back. Very, very slowly. This is if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, right? But just think about winter, orientated to the hemisphere that you are in. Once you start to get past the solstice moment there, slowly the light starts to come back, and we can start to set our sights on springtime coming, the light that is coming, light coming back into dominance. This time of year, a lot of people start thinking about spring break in the Northern Hemisphere, right? Trying to get an escape or a break away from the cold. I'm starting to talk about like starting my garden. So I'm looking at the seeds that I'm going to start inside and thinking about planning where positioning of where that's going to go. People start talking about vacations, and here in Michigan where I am, just after the first of the year, you start looking at like if you want to go camping and you want to book camping reservations in like some of these more popular campgrounds, you have to start doing that just after the first of the year. So people are we're setting our sights on the brighter light, right? We're setting our sights on the fact that we know spring is coming. And even though we are in the coldest part of the year and the darkest part of the year, we know that the light will be coming. So the focus on that is very Aquarian, right? Very aware of the lack of the space that we are in now, right? So trying to restore that light and looking to bring that light back. People take trips to places where it's warm in the wintertime to try to restore that light and bring that balance back. People eat and drink warm things to try to warm up our bodies. but that setting our sights on something more ideal, something that seems better, something that seems to be where we want to be. So whether that is going forward to something new or restoring something that we're trying to maintain or keep in balance, that's very Aquarian. So you can think about the seasons that way and correlate them with the astrological signs within that zodiacal season, and you find lots of things that work together there. So hi Nikita, good evening, good to see you too. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the clock here for a moment after I've rambled on for a little while. Real-time clock is currently set to the time and location of where I'm at, so just after 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, Sunday, January 25th. The house placement may be different located based on where you are located compared to where I am. We're not looking at house placement here other than maybe just to locate the sign. So just looking at the degrees where planets are and the signs and the aspects that they are making here. So the big thing that we have this week is that Neptune is going to move into the sign of Aries. So if I go ahead and bring this forward here to tomorrow, you will see that Neptune ingresses to 0 degrees of Aries. You can find that in the 8th house in this chart here. This is a transit that we are going to have until, oh, I said it in the weekly video, I think 2037, 36, something like that. We're going to have this for like 14 years. So this is a long transit. I would say that the ingresses, so around this time frame where the planet moves into a new sign, you can feel that new energy coming in. But if you look to what planets you may have in any cardinal sign, so if you look to Aries, you look to Cancer, you look to Libra, you look to Capricorn, those are the signs that are going to get the loudest aspects. So if you want to look at a time frame for yourself, look at where Neptune will make aspects to those planets, and then you may find those being the loudest moments for you for this transit. Certainly if you have planets in the sign of Aries, that's going to be the loudest. The opposition would be to the sign of Libra, and then the squares would go to Cancer and Capricorn here. And then the other thing that we're going to look at here this week is that Mars is conjoining Pluto essentially at the same time. If you look in the 6th house in this chart, you'll see Mars at 2 degrees of Aquarius. You'll see Pluto at 3 degrees of Aquarius. If we go ahead and move this forward just a little bit here to the next day, to Tuesday, you'll see that they are exactly conjoined. But you can say that Mars and Pluto are conjoined as Neptune is moving into the sign of Aries. Remember that Mars is the ruler of Aries. The other aspect that we have going on this week, which I'm hoping will kind of bring in some beneficial communications or thought processes for some of us, is the conjunction between Venus and Mercury. Not focusing on that so much here this week in the meditation, because really the Neptune ingress and the Pluto-Mars conjunction, I think those are definitely going to be the loudest. But if you watch the weekly video, I talked about how Venus and Mercury are going to be together for a few days here. So this is Tuesday, you have Pluto and Mars coming together, and then the next day you have Venus and Mercury together at 14 degrees. And if we go ahead and roll this forward here a couple days, they stick together through Friday here. They might bop away a degree of each other for a few hours, but then they come right back. So from the middle of the week into the end of the week here, we have these two planets coming together, which feel like they can bring in a beneficial, communicative, cooperative ideology type vibe here for us, which could maybe be really helpful with this Mars-Pluto conjunction that we have, because this one can be pretty loud. So those are the aspects that we are looking at here this week. Okay, so let's look at our intention here. Initiation, ignites, and stimulates. Initiation. Pluto. Pluto is at 3 degrees of Aquarius, right? Mars is the last of the personal planets to move across this conjunction with Pluto. If I go ahead and put the chart up here for one more moment, Mercury, Venus, Sun, they've all went to the conjunction with Pluto. We've talked about those on the last couple weeks, right? Now it's Mars's turn here. So there is a type of initiation that can happen with Pluto, and it's the initiation to the underworld. It's the initiation to the unseen, to what has been hidden, to what maybe we've pushed away. It's the initiation to things that have built up and have some sort of pressure that is building behind them. It's a deep-seated initiation, right? Usually going through some sort of darkness, having to move through some sort of process of processing or discovering, or some sort of vulnerability that we have to open ourselves up to. Mars is the last personal planet to go through and have this initiation to the underworld, this Pluto contact in the middle of winter where dark is dominant. We just got done breaking down the zodiacal season and kind of explaining that a little bit here. So all of these personal planets have went through this initiation into the darkness and within the darkest part of the dark half of the year. So there's an initiation that's been in process. The ignition, the igniting of this Pluto contact that these planets have went through is Mars, right? Our mental sphere has went through here. The way we think, the way we communicate, maybe there's been words that have been said or thoughts that have come up from the depth, things from the subconscious, unconscious, things from the memory body, things that come up in dreams and in weird things that seem like weird symbols that are hard to describe or hard to understand, but we know that they mean something within us here. The mental sphere has been through there. Venus, our desires, right? What we want, what we love, what we care for, our relationships have went across this initiation point. The sun, our soul, our purpose, what lights us up within us, right? Our individuality has been through this place. Now it's Mars, our motivation, our ambitions, the way we move, and the things that ignite passion within us. Right? The things that make us move, right? The things that drive us, the things that give us ambition. So there may be more movement, there may be more action than with some of the other planets. Or I see it as a conglomerate. I see it as a pressure building where these Pluto contacts have been happening one after another, and now Mars is the last one to come across there. And quite frankly, Mars can be the most explosive, right? So things, if they've been bottling up, they may come out quite loudly, quite quickly in some sort of way. But there is an initiation, and it's not all bad. It's not all good, right? There can be a lot of really productive things that can come up from looking at, sitting with deep things, sitting with hard things, sitting with things that, even if it's just bringing something to our awareness that wasn't there before, now we know that it's there, right? And it doesn't have to be a big catastrophic thing. Often it is with Pluto. Often it's a very deep-seated conversations and processes that need to be had in some sort of way, but just making sure we're doing it in whatever is the best way for all of us involved there, right? Mars stimulates. Mars pokes and prods, irritates, it lifts. It is like an adhesive remover that if there's something that is stuck, it will remove it, right? I'm thinking right now of like a spatula, like going underneath like a piece of meat on the grill to kind of like separate it from the grill if it's stuck a little bit there, to be able to move it, flip it, or whatever it is that you need to do. So it gives that poking or that prodding to be able to move things a little bit. You can think of like, cattle prodding or something like that, right? Which moving things along with Mars. Neptune moving into the sign of Aries, moving into Mars's sign. Again, we're going to have this for a very long time, but these two things happening simultaneously feels like as Neptune moves into Aries, we're going to feel it. We're going to feel it quickly, and that ingress is going to be loud, and it's going to be fiery for a lot of people. Not everybody. That doesn't mean that, between Sunday and Tuesday you feel like a different person, right? Like it could be that way, but it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. I think about how like when you were a kid and your birthday would come and the adults would be like, oh, do you feel older now? And it's like, well, something is different, but no, I still feel like the same person, right? But you know that something is different, something has changed, kind of like that. When I'm thinking of Neptune in the sign of Aries, I keep coming back to the thoughts of igniting an ancient fire and bringing it to the surface in some sort of way, right? Something that starts within. Aries is the first sign of the zodiacal wheel. So there is a starting, there is an initiation, and there is something that is being birthed, something that is being brought to the surface, right? It might be in its rawest form. It might be a little bit premature, but it's coming and it's ready to move. It's ready to come forward here. So bringing it to the surface. So this fire could be our beliefs, something of our fire of our beliefs coming through, fire of inspiration, right? There is a creative expression that can arise in fire signs, and a creative expression within the sign of Aries of starting something, of initiating something, of that initiation that it takes to start something new. You have to just jump into it, right? Without really considering the consequences sometimes. You just have to kind of go and you have to just kind of start. Aries is a cardinal sign. It's very quick to start. Maybe not quite so good at the follow through here. But this fire that is starting and initiating with Neptune moving in there. Neptune to me feels like something ancient. Something that is older than time, something older than space, older than existence, older than creation itself, right? So what has always been there? The divine, right? God, creator, source, universe, whatever term works for you there. The origination, right? Where things originated from. Not in an ancestral type way. That's Cancer, that's the moon. But Neptune is something a little more ethereal, something more energetic that is a little bit less tangible, and one of those things that we just have to believe in, right? We have to be inspired by it. We have to romanticize the idea of a higher power in order to believe it within this material world here, right? We're in this dense physical world. We're in the 3D world where things are, seems like the energetic connection sometimes can be easily forgotten. Well, when Neptune moves into the sign of Aries, what is the ancient fire that is being initiated within you, right? What is older than existence that you can feel stirring within your life somewhere, right? The tides, the winds of change coming in some sort of way here. So, initiation ignites and stimulates. When Neptune is in the sign of Aries, we can be called to act on our beliefs, be called to act on our morals and our own ethics. We can be called to act on things that inspire us, things that light us up from within inside, right? So those things that inspire us, but in order to really feel inspired, you have to kind of be a little dreamy about it. You have to romanticize it a little bit. This is the type of energy I feel coming in with Neptune moving into the sign of Aries. And we will see this stuff play out within our lives. We will see this stuff play out collectively as well. So, starting, fighting for our beliefs, what we believe within us to the core. Initiating something that feels larger than ourselves, stepping into some sort of energy that feels like we are reaching into something that is bigger than whatever we could even ever fully explain, right? Kind of like that. It can be hard to even describe Neptune. It can be a little foggy, it can be a little illusory. So, making sure that we are not fighting just for the sake of martyrism, right? I can see the martyr archetype showing up with Neptune in the sign of Aries, absolutely. The religious warrior, the spiritual warrior, right? So fighting for our beliefs, fighting on behalf of our beliefs. Now, if that is happening internally within us, and there are ancient fires that are being lit within us, and we are feeling connected, we are feeling inspired, we are feeling creative forces driving within us, that can be very, very empowering. When that empowerment becomes externalized too much and we start pushing that on others, maybe without even realizing it, we start going too far, too fast. These are some of the shadow sides of Neptune in the sign of Aries. Fighting for what we believe in and our ideals, our ideologies, with Pluto being in the sign of Aquarius, can clash, right? So there's a clash, there can be a clashing here of starting and initiating the individual solo, going on your own in the sign of Aries. And then I'm thinking about, we have Pluto in the sign of Aquarius. Pluto in Aquarius looks to change, looks to transform in the ideal way, upholding or creating new ideal ideologies, moving towards those type of things. So as Neptune ingresses into the sign of Aries, fires can start, fires are initiated, right? If there's a stimulant, or, you put gasoline on that fire, what's going to happen? It's going to blow. It's not going to blow up necessarily, but it's going to get a lot bigger. Now, if you're trying to burn something big, then that fire is beneficial, right? If you're trying to clear a space for something new, that fire is beneficial. However, if you put gasoline on that fire without realizing how close other things are, and other things start to catch fire that you don't realize, yeah, it's kind of like that. So you can take that symbolically. Neptune in the sign of Aries, I'm thinking of an incinerator, because Neptune, on its own, dissolves boundaries, right? And Aries moves fast. So general circumstances can change very drastically by removing things before we even realize they're removed, right? Things dissolve, things fall away as we are moving in whatever direction we are moving. We don't realize the other things that are moving away from us here. So that happening in a fiery way, incinerating, right? When you put something in an incinerator, it's gone before you even realize that it was able to be gone. So with the boundaries dissolving and the sometimes being like unclear or foggy, you can have the other thing that can happen, the other side of that can happen with Neptune too, where there can be a clarity like there's never been before, right? So you start to see things that you had in ways that you haven't seen before. So fog can roll in and cloud the judgment, but smoke screens can clear at the same time. So whichever way that goes, I see the movements and the actions coming from it quickly, swiftly. It's Aries. Aries doesn't stop and plan, it moves forward, right? Kind of like that. So this can be really empowering energy. This can also be very forceful energy at the same time. So there's going to be a variety of ways that it plays out for all of us here, of course. The card that came up was the Six of Pentacles, but it was in the reverse position here. So this is not a time of giving, sharing, equal resources. This is not a time of generosity necessarily. And I'm thinking of this being more of a time of focusing on the individual energy. When I think of the Six of Pentacles, usually I think of a generosity of materials, sharing our wealth. We have so much that we feel like we can donate to the charity. We can share what we have because our basket will still be full. So either there is some sort of like maybe a paranoia of some kind, of of scarcity, of things falling away, of a lack, right? And there can be a selfishness that can come along with that. Or right now, it's just not the time for distributing. It's the time for bringing things in and to collect and to accumulate. And I could see that with the Pluto transits that we have going on here. We're bringing things together. We are looking at different little pieces of the story and bringing it together into a full story, or maybe creating a new story here. So I thought the Six of Pentacles was really, really interesting. Okay, so ignition, stimulation, initiation. This is one of those weeks where we're really stepping into new territory with Neptune moving into Aries, but it really amps up the energy with this Pluto conjunction that we have. So things can ignite quickly. Mindfulness, as always, is really, really important. I thought I would share some of my reflections. I don't know if this is helpful or not, but it's been helpful for me in the past, of just some of the highlights of the things that I saw when Neptune was in the sign of Aries through that time period. Now, I have a 0 degree Libra moon. So, sorry, 1 degree Libra moon. My ascendant is 0 Scorpio. So as Neptune moves into the sign of Aries, it's opposing my moon, right? So emotions, relationships, general environments, and the spaces that you find yourself in, for sure, with the opposition to the moon, right? I'm a Scorpio rising, so Aries is my 6th house, so Neptune is moving into my 6th house of work, sacrifice, illness, injury, things like that. That means that my moon is in the 12th house, so it's in the place of hidden spaces, the blind spot, things that you don't necessarily see. I work in healthcare, I work a lot in isolation, things like that. So just a little background on the space that I find it in my chart here, right? So as Neptune was moving for a short little while through my 6th house, which is considered to be a place of sacrifice, a place of hard work for little reward, I had a couple injuries that happened. It's Neptune. You kind of misjudge with Neptune, right? I burned my hand twice. Just by misjudging where I was putting my hand inside something that was hot. I did it twice. Burning, fire, Aries, it's a fire sign. That made so much sense. I was chopping vegetables and I chopped off or cut off a chunk of the tip of my finger, and it's fine, it grew back, but I took off my fingernail and a whole little tip of my finger, and it happened so fast that I didn't even realize what had separated and what had went away until after it already did. And now I'm finding that that's a callback to a sentence I just said a few minutes ago here. So injuries to my hands, not exactly sure about the correlation to the hands. If anybody has any suggestions there, then I'm all ears. I leased my office in my location, or in my local community inside my city here. So I made a new commitment to my work and to my practices. And took on something too, right? Because as you sign a lease for something, you are taking on a responsibility of something here. So there's that happened. I did Reiki training in the fall time. That was kind of just at the tail end that was coming forward, but I took a new certification. I got another astrology certification within this time frame. I put in a lot of effort to complete that exam. My workouts intensified, putting in lots of work, lots of effort in the 6th house. Last summer, I was exercising in my garage where the heat was unbearable, and I really just had to sludge through it and get through it, but it really deepened my commitment and just my overall practice with my workouts that I've done. I've worked a ton of overtime over the summertime, where I had lots of money flowing in for the things that I needed, so I was very thankful for that. And another thing that the 6th house can represent is pets sometimes, small domestic animals and pets. And my kids and my kitty cat, their relationship has strengthened greatly through 2025. She was very skittish of the kids first. So those are very sixth house and or moon type things. The moon can represent the body too. I don't think I mentioned that. So those are just some little examples of some of the things that I saw show up in my life that made sense. So hopefully that kind of helps trigger or kind of clarify how to look for some of those things. And if you don't know what house to look for and you are curious, then get a hold of me and we can figure that out through a reading, right? Talk about it there. All right, let's go ahead and get ready to move into the meditation portion here. Initiation ignites and stimulates. I want to focus on cultivating a fire within us, igniting a fire within all of us, right? That fire can be whatever it is for you right now. It can be something personal. It can be something collective. There's, you know, it's whatever works for you, whatever you need. If you're in a place where you're cold right now and you just need to warm up your insides, then so be it. Focusing on the personal space. I was thinking of something a little bit more collective before, but the reverse Six of Pentacles is telling me that this is the time to go inward. This is the time to not necessarily share everything outward. That time will come. It needs to kind of start within us here a little bit. As you can see, I have a blanket with me because it's cold where I'm at. So whatever you need to do to warm yourself up, I'm going to light our intentional candle here in a moment. If you have a candle that's nearby, just having that flame of any sort of candle will just be a good symbol of what we're bringing in here. So yeah, whatever works for you here. I'm going to go ahead and bring the intention down here. So then you can see our intentional table here with the intentional candle. I don't have much up here right now because I feel like we're coming into a new space and I just wanted to kind of clear it a little bit. What is interesting is that I have a different mug that I usually use, and that one wasn't available for me to use right now, so I'm using a red mug, which correlates with the fire element. So I think that the red is pretty fitting and pretty timely. All right, I'm going to light the intentional candle, and as I do so, I encourage you to say it with me in any capacity that you were able to. Saying it out loud, saying it in your head, writing it down, whatever works for you. Okay. So, flame ignites. As it ignites, the flame begins to grow. As the flame grows, so does our intention. Initiation ignites and stimulates. Initiation ignites and stimulates. We are stepping into a new era. We are stepping into the era of Neptune in Aries. As Neptune steps boldly from the sign of Pisces into the sign of Aries, lighting a fire, a deep, ancient fire, Mars conjoins Pluto. Bringing a deep stimulation, an excavation of things that need to come up. If you haven't already, I invite you to find a comfortable position. Turn your attention towards your breath. And observe the inhales and the exhales as they move through your body. As you focus and your attention gathers on the breath, you may feel the desire to change or alter your breath, perhaps improve it, however it may feel. I'm going to encourage you to refrain, if possible, from any changes or any alterations. Simply sitting with the breath in its real, raw form, in the way that it comes through. Our breath can be a result of our experiences, our emotions, our circumstances. When we feel relaxed, our breath is more relaxed. When we feel stressed or stimulated, our breath corresponds. So therefore, in a way, when you take a moment to sit with the breath, honor and acknowledge the breath without changing or altering, there's a way in which you are honoring the path, everything that has brought you to this moment. It's as if you're walking side by side with your own experiences and honoring them. As Neptune moves into the sign of Aries, there is an honor that is bestowed to the warrior within each and every one of us. A warrior that has had to survive, a warrior that may have had to fight or assert or put in a lot of effort. Honoring that space through the breath. After you've had a moment to sit with and honor the breath, I encourage you to begin to expand the inhale and the exhale. Here, allow your only goal to be that each inhale is slightly deeper, slightly longer, and bringing in slightly more air than the inhale that came before it. Conversely, on the exhale, allow your only goal to be that each exhale releases slightly more air, slightly more energy, and maybe slightly more stress than the exhale that came before it. Still slowly and gently moving along with the breath. Your attention begins to wander, gently bring it back. Each round of breath, you feel your connection to your own being as well as a higher energy connecting, growing, and strengthening. Feeling the air moving in and out of your lungs, in and out of your body. Notice what you notice. As you begin to sink deeper into your concentration, you start to feel a warmth, ever so slowly, expanding within you. Perhaps it starts out as something you can't quite describe. Perhaps it feels like something that you've known was there all along. Each time you breathe in and you bring in the air from the atmosphere around you, you feel that warmth begin to grow, adding more energy and more stimulation to that growing warmth. Each time you exhale, you feel that warmth expand beyond your physical being, perhaps through your breath, and moves out into the ethers. Feel this growing warmth within you. Notice what you notice. This energy growing within you is an old, ancient force. One that dates back to the creation of time, space, and human existence, material existence itself. Think back to the heat and the combustion of the Big Bang. However you feel the universe formed. An energy potential just waiting to be put into action. This week, that fire may be called to be put into action. That fire that's been growing within you, your motivations, the creative forces that have been stirring within you, and your own autonomy your own ability to create, start, and initiate. What is it that has been brewing within you? Where are the fiery forces whispering, "It is time now"? Feeling that growing within you, ever so slowly but consistently. Feel that creative fire growing within you from within. That which starts from within us strengthens from the inside out. What are your beliefs that you feel motivated to fight for? What path are you willing to put effort in at this moment? This warmth within you grows and grows until eventually you can feel it throughout your entire being. Grows and grows until it feels instinctual and necessary to move forward. Filling you up greatly and fully. You allow your inspiration to reach beyond your being and into the ethers around you. Spreading amongst your community, amongst the land. Motivating the fire within. As you feel this fire igniting within you, can you move forward authentically, strongly, and fully within the fire that is initiated within you, while still allowing others to allow their fire to shine brightly as well? Because when the fire burns brightly within each and every one of us, when we all have a candle that is lit, the entire world is illuminated. And every being can see everything that this wonderful world has to offer. With that, we bring our hands into prayer, bowing our head if it feels right. And we bring that fiery, warm energy back into our being, feeling it gathering in the middle of your body. You see that warmth as a light within you, shining bright, strong, courageous, but also controlled, also stable, and able to show itself as a controlled burn, where only what we decide to release is released. As we bring our meditation towards a close, let's take a couple deep breaths in together, breathing in slowly and steadily through your nose, out through your mouth if able. Once more, breathing in and breathing out. All right, there are initiations that are being ignited this week. There are fires that are going to start to burn very, very bright within the creative realm, within the initiating and the starting realm, but also within the air realm, right? Aquarius is an air sign where Mars and Pluto are coming together. And these combinations can be explosive. They can be things that bring us to a space where we can only move forward, right? We can't go back to where we were. Neptune is not going to move back into the sign of Pisces. It's going to stay in the sign of Aries. When anything is initiated into the underworld, you cannot forget what you've seen, right? So whether it's a nightmarish situation or I can see clearly now the cause of X, Y, and Z. I can see where the origin of X, Y, and Z is. You can't forget those things, right? Be mindful of our actions this week. Be mindful of our actions. Stand tall. Be in your autonomous self, but consider others. I feel like that is a collective warning and a personal warning that we could all use right now. And you know, wherever we are at this very moment is exactly where we're supposed to be, right? That can be hard to remember sometimes, but when you feel that power and you feel that fire within you, there's a way in which you know that you're right where you're supposed to be, even with you're in the fires. Another thing about fire is that it's purifying, right? Things can grow out of what has been pulled apart, what has been incinerated, what has fallen. Pluto can often be correlated to the Tower card in the tarot card, right? So we have something that brings us to a space where we can't go back, we have to rebuild. And typically you have to rebuild something in a different way. You can't build it up in the exact same way that it was, because then it's probably just going to fall again, right? All right. Thank you, everybody. If you have not watched the weekly video, go ahead and check that back out. I hope you feel the warmth. I hope you feel the strength. And I hope you feel that what is initiating within you is strong and stimulating growth, prosperity, and forward motion. All right. Thank you, everybody. I will see you all next week. Next Friday, weekly intention will come out. Next Saturday, weekly video, and then we will meet here for the Leo full moon. So yeah, we're going to be moving towards that this week here. So yeah, more fire. All right. Take care. Happy Sunday, and have a good week, everybody.